A missing persons case rattles the southern coast of Texas.
We are constantly subjected to hurricanes.
I was like, hey guys, there's a really bad storm coming your way. Are you guys okay? And no answer.
They were really concerned because they hadn't heard from their parents, and that they religiously, without fail, contact their children every day.
The investigation unearths a devastating crime.
Finding two bodies buried in a shallow grave is obvious that that's homicide.
I didn't want this nightmare to be true. I didn't want this to be a reality.
Authorities set their sights on an elusive criminal.
Our fear was if he travels further into Mexico, they'll never solve this case.
And a romance blinded by devotion and reckless abandon.
She was caught up in how he manipulated her. She was willing to look past it in the name of love.
They're a couple that did everything together, and that includes murder.
Stretching more than 100 miles down the Texas coastline, Padre Island has long attracted visitors with a taste for adventure.
We have some beautiful beaches. The water's warm year-round. You can drive on the beach, you can camp on the beach, you can have bonfires on the beach. A lot of people come over here from all over the world.
The Barrier Island's beauty is what drew RV lifestyle couple James and Michelle Butler to the area in the fall of 2019.
They're retirees, they're traveling the country, they're having the time of their lives.
But on October 21st, a powerful storm moves closer to shore in southern Texas.
In South Texas, on the coast, we are constantly subjected to hurricanes.
We'll get high tides where people can't get off the beach, where the surf comes all the way up to the dunes. Down and people get trapped.
2 days after the storm makes landfall, the Clayburgh County Sheriff's Office receives a call from James and Michelle Butler's children when they realize no one has heard from the couple in 5 days.
They are a close-knit family, and so they started keeping tabs. Have you talked to James? Have you talked to Michelle? And they started to realize no one had.
I was working patrol when I was assigned this call, and it came in as a missing persons. In talking to the family, they told me that they were really concerned because they hadn't heard from their parents since the 15th. And they religiously, without fail, contact their children every day on FaceTime. So that was a big concern. I took that to the office and I said, I think we have a real problem here.
Authorities questioned family and friends to learn more about the missing couple. A retired naval air traffic controlman, 48-year-old James, nicknamed Jimbo by his friends, grew up in Rumney, New Hampshire.
Jimbo in high school was the funny guy. Every class has their clown. Well, he was the clown that surpassed all other clowns.
Everybody that knew Jimbo, they had to have laughed at one point in time. That's who he was.
Jimbo joined the Navy in 1991, and he decided he wanted to become an air traffic controller. And that's where I first met him. Naval Air Station Lakers, Fort Dix McGuire, New Jersey. Air traffic control can be summed up in one sentence: the safe, expeditious movement of aircraft and personnel. Jimbo did that in a manner that if you were a pilot and you heard Jimbo's voice, you knew you were okay.
Along the way, James met his first wife and had 2 children.
Jimbo was a very devoted father. He loved those children.
James would remain a steady fixture in his children's lives long after he and his wife divorced. Then, in 2010, he paid a fateful visit to his hometown in New Hampshire.
Jimbo and Michelle met up in Romney out at a bar, karaoke bar one night, and the rest is history.
Michelle was from New Hampshire also. She loved horses. She was a barrel racer. She loved rodeos. I think Michelle was most happy when she was around horses and around animals. She loved that.
Like James, Michelle was also divorced with children.
The first time I met Michelle, She had come down to New Jersey, and we met her at the play that Jimbo was at for our daughter. And she was Aunt Michelle after that. To my daughter, to my other two sons. That's what it was. In the early days of the relationship, they were like two high schoolers at prom. You know, couldn't give enough lovies, couldn't keep their hands off each other. He would crack stupid jokes. She would be lovingly embarrassed, if you will. It was fun. It was fun to watch them.
You could tell right from the start how much they loved each other.
After James's retirement from the Navy, he returned to New Hampshire to settle down with Michelle.
They found this beautiful home. It used to be a schoolhouse, and Jimbo fell in love with it. He became a supervisor for the local Walmart, and Michelle was a limousine driver.
The couple married in 2015. James's 2 daughters and Michelle's 3 sons made the perfect blended family.
At no point did I ever see Jimbo do anything but love his children. The same thing with Michelle's children, who were not his. He loved her boys just the same.
In 2018, after the last of their kids moved out, the Butlers did what most people only dream of. They quit their jobs, bought an RV, and hit the road.
They truly loved RVing. It was something that they had wanted to do for a very long time.
They brought 3 fur babies, their cats, with them. And that was their life. And that's what they loved. The RV life for Jimbo and Michelle meant freedom. It meant freedom from the cares of everyday life. It meant for them to be able to grow together as a couple as well as people.
They went to a lot of national parks. They started hiking more. They were outdoors more. They had less stress.
Although James had a Navy pension, he and Michelle took seasonal work to help supplement their living expenses on the road.
They ended up going out to a place called Mesa Regal. Jimbo was Mr. Handyman, so he worked their maintenance and he did a great job at it. Michelle is awesome with public relations. After Mesa, they went to Texas and they were gate guards for oil fields. Jimbo used to joke with me saying it was like air traffic control on the ground.
The next stop on the couple's adventure was Padre Island, Texas, where they set up camp on October 14th, 2019.
I saw this Facebook post from Jimbo. He took a picture of Michelle, and Michelle was sitting in a chair facing the water, and he said, "I couldn't do this without my beautiful wife." So I sent them this meme that said, "Who wants to shut off their phone, drive to the beach, forget everything, and just listen to the sound of the waves crashing?" And I write underneath it, "Oh wait, you're doing just that." And Michelle responded on the 16th and said, "Yes, we are, and it is amazing." That was the last time anyone actually spoke to them.
The 16th is when we see a last Facebook post. Michelle had posted that they had found their home for the next 2 weeks.
The Butlers family share photos of the couple's silver Chevrolet truck and white camper with Texas authorities.
The photo that we received first is a photo of them at beach marker 262, where James is digging a hole with the shovel, and you see the camper and the truck.
Authorities know the location as the Bowl.
If you really want to be alone and enjoy the peace and quiet of the beach and listen to the waves, that's the place where people often set up.
It's a recessed part where the dunes were washed back many years ago over several storms and hurricanes.
Looking out of a plane, the area appears to look like a bowl.
When the high tide comes in or there's a storm, water fills that area there.
Despite the family's initial concerns about a tropical storm in southern Texas, local law enforcement know that the brunt of it had stayed much farther south of Padre Island.
We told them the storm didn't really affect us or the area we were in.
There was a lot of anxiety. The idea that they had not reached out to us troubled me.
After speaking with family and friends, sheriff's deputies drive out to the campground in search of the couple.
There was nobody there, nothing obvious that stood out.
There was no trailer, no truck.
We were turning up nothing. We just kept thinking, well, maybe they pick up and go somewhere else, or maybe they had gone, somewhere they just lost contact for a period of time.
The Butlers' friends and family tell authorities that James and Michelle had plans to hit the road for Florida in just a few short weeks.
After Texas, they were supposed to go to Florida to manage and run a Christmas tree farm.
One of the first things law enforcement did was contact the Christmas tree farm just to cover their bases.
We realized that they'd never arrived there.
While authorities issue a bolo for the Butlers' truck and RV, a multi-agency search gets underway across the entire length of Padre Island.
It was a massive search. Several agencies involved, the Texas Rangers, the U.S. Coast Guard.
It's probably about 77 miles of uncharted land.
There wasn't a bunch of people camping there at the same location where the Butlers were, other than people maybe fishing in the proximate area. And of course, our investigator went and talked to them and said, hey, have you seen anything? Do you remember seeing these people? Do you remember seeing his trailer?
Nobody had seen any signs of them, the vehicle, or had any contact with them.
We didn't know where they were. They just vanished off of the island.
Coming up, authorities uncover disturbing signs of foul play.
There was a lot of debris. You could tell somebody had covered something up.
I remember David calling. He says, I'm not getting a good feeling about this.
The odor was there as well, that we're so unfortunately familiar with.
Authorities in Clayburgh County, Texas are searching for married couple James and Michelle Butler, who were reported missing 10 days after they arrived on Padre Island.
So I asked the sheriff and the command for a press release. I said, I think we need to get this out there as quick as possible.
So on October 25th, the Clayburgh County Sheriff's Department reached out to all of the local TV stations and newspaper to let them know that a couple from New Hampshire had gone missing.
It was already becoming a big story on social media, on Facebook.
I created a Facebook page and called it Finding Michelle and James Butler. And it was just all over the place with everybody trying to find them.
We were receiving hundreds of tips from everywhere. Tips coming in from people from Washington State saying they had seen them there around. And so we had to follow up with every lead possible.
On October 26th, 3 days into their search, investigators receive an alert from the U.S. Border Patrol, more than 200 miles northwest of Padre Island.
We were putting our feelers out there, and we got a break in the case.
During an investigation and running license plates, we discover a photo from the Eagle Pass Border Patrol crossing where the vehicles have crossed into Mexico on the 21st of October.
The Butlers were driving a silver 2018 Chevrolet 3/4-ton four-wheel drive pickup and pulling a 2000 Cedar Creek travel trailer. It had New Hampshire registration on it. When we reviewed the video, we noted that the vehicle was the exact vehicle pictured in the photographs of the Butlers.
Authorities confirm the license plate is registered to James Butler.
It's a photo of the vehicle, and you can see the RV, but not the occupants.
I thought, okay, well, maybe the Butlers simply went to Mexico.
We go from, oh, no, this is really serious, to, no, maybe they just want to relax. Maybe they're just going to vacation. They're off the grid. They don't want to be bothered.
Their family just knows they wouldn't just leave. They would let their family know where they are.
Inside, I was very concerned because this is not my best friend acting the way he usually did. But my wife and I and the family, we stayed positive.
Investigators next subpoena the couple's phone records, hoping to shed light on their whereabouts since they disappeared 10 days earlier.
I got with our dispatch and submitted some affidavits to run phone pings. Dispatcher calls me back, and she tells me that Michelle's phone had died about 7:12 p.m. on the 16th, 3 miles south of the Padre Island phone tower, Corpus Christi, Texas. James's phone had died 10:30 that morning, same location. And my heart dropped. You just get that feeling because that's pretty much the location where they were camping.
On October 27th, Lieutenant Farias drives out to the couple's last known campsite to organize a more thorough search for the following day.
I went out there to take photos, get the coordinates. There's a lot of dunes and sand, and it's really rough terrain. It looks pretty when you look at it, but going through it is tough. High grass, weeds, and then you got your rattlesnakes. I walk over the first little dune. It was kind of hard to make out, but you could tell there was a lot of debris, scrap lumber, palm tree leaves, trash. You could tell somebody had covered something up.
I remember David calling. He says, hey, look, I found something down here. It looks like coyotes have tried to attempt to dig something out of the sand, and I'm not getting a good feeling about this.
I had called the command staff and made all the phone calls, secured the scene, sent me units.
To get to the beach area, it takes about an hour. We made it over, and it was already getting dark.
At night, if you go out into the island, especially the sand dunes, there's a lot of wildlife, especially coyotes.
It was an eerie feeling that gave you chills because there were so many eyes. There were probably about 15 glowing eyes from the reflection of the flashlight that were looking down.
We secured the scene, we put lights on the scene because it was already in the evening.
They started to dig.
I remember David says, hey, look, I found something down here. It looks like an article of clothing.
You could see a portion of looked like a rib bone and a piece of clothing sticking through the sand.
What we were looking at was the tip of a bra.
Unfortunately, the odor was there as well, that we're so unfortunately familiar with. And I knew I had a crime scene.
This could be Michelle Butler.
4 days after James and Michelle Butler were reported missing, an ominous discovery in the dunes near their campsite has launched a crime scene investigation.
The next morning, as the sun rises, authorities get to work.
Texas Ranger Ed Groves and his team and the forensic team from Department of Public Safety here in Texas, they take the lead on the actual physical crime scene. This team worked, I'm talking with a brush and a spoon.
We started removing the sand and we discovered that it was a body.
It appeared that the body was of a female, but badly decomposed.
And they know this because they're the undergarments still attached to it.
As they continued the excavation, we found that there was another body underneath.
The female body is on top and the male's body is on the bottom. Finding two bodies buried in a shallow grave is obvious. That's homicide. So we know we have a very, very serious crime on our hands.
They were both transported to the medical examiner's office for an autopsy.
I concentrated with investigators from our department on sifting through everything around the crime scene, sifting through the sand, looking for any pieces of evidence that might be in the area.
While still processing the scene, the U.S. Border Patrol calls Detective Farias about the Butler's truck and camper that crossed into Mexico 7 days earlier.
The Border Patrol patrol agent in charge advised me he's got new information. And that new information was photos in the vehicles which came from the camera system of Eagle Pass Police Department.
It was kind of grainy, but you could see a man with short hair, with tattoos all over his face, and you could tell there was a woman next to him.
Although we couldn't positively identify the female in the vehicle, we could tell that the driver of the vehicle was not James or Michelle Butler.
We considered him the person of interest, and all efforts were now directed in trying to identify this person.
Law enforcement in Texas immediately notify Mexican authorities to be on the lookout. They also release the surveillance image to the public.
On November 4th, the Clayburgh County Sheriff's Department held a press conference for local media saying that a couple had been seen crossing the border into Mexico.
We don't know their names. As you can tell by the picture, it appears that they've got some distinguishing marks to them.
They wanted to make sure that we got these faces on the news.
4 days later, investigators received the autopsy findings.
Positive identification was made on both Michelle and James Butler.
They were so badly decomposed that the way that autopsy examiners were able to identify them was through their dental records.
We were told that they were shot in the head.
The gun used in the murder was a 9mm.
In the days following the discovery of the bodies, my wife and I followed every lead, and every time we got a phone call or a text message or a message, whatever, we were just like, oh, this is it. This is it. They're going to be alive. 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 And that's how it went before we heard.
November 1st, 2019, one day before Jimbo's birthday, we were told that it was them.
My wife just looked me in the eyes. She said, I'm so sorry. If it hadn't have been for her telling me, I would have collapsed.
I didn't want this nightmare to be true. I didn't want this to be a reality.
James and Michelle Butler were friendly people. They didn't have anyone who wanted to hurt them.
3 days later, on November 4th, authorities in Texas get a promising lead.
After the media release and the photos are out of our suspects, one of our park rangers recognizes the photos.
The park ranger identifies the man in the photo as 33-year-old Adam Williams.
On October 13th, it turns out Adam Curtis Williams was actually pulled over by a park ranger at the Padre Island National Seashore for not wearing his seatbelt. Turns out he was a wanted felon out of Utah, but that didn't show up in that park ranger system. When that park ranger sees the media coverage, she recognizes Adam Curtis Williams and positively IDs him to authorities.
A business owner in Corpus Christi, Texas, also comes forward.
We find out that there is a truck that's been abandoned in the Weber Bingo parking lot.
The owner had to call a tow truck company to pick up the truck. When that tow company picked up the truck, they found out that it belonged to Adam Curtis Williams.
When investigators run a background check, they discover that Adam has a lengthy criminal record.
Adam Williams was identified as being a resident of Logan, Utah. We contacted local authorities in that area. Adam Williams spent much of his life incarcerated, both as a juvenile and as an adult. Had a extensive criminal history involving theft, drugs, narcotics.
These aren't just little drug charges. These are intent to distribute. He has assault charges. He had a rape charge. Adam Curtis Williams has been in and out of jail for pretty much half of his life. This is a career criminal. He's a pretty scary guy. He's actually 6'1", 220 pounds.
Very intimidating physically, very tattered up throughout, even his neck, face, head.
We're not talking about I love you mom tattoos. We're talking about his rap sheet written on his body. There are images of money bags, curse words, marijuana, flames, skulls. One of the tattoos that stood out was bad luck written on his knuckles.
After an 8-year stint in federal prison, Adam was issued a supervised release in December of 2018 and returned to Utah. Investigators must still identify the woman seen traveling in the passenger seat.
We don't know who the female in the car is.
We don't know exactly what her relationship was with him.
It's hard at this point, early on in the investigation, to put together a murder warrant. And really, it's a matter of what we do know. And the thing that we could do at that very minute was to charge him with the possession of a stolen vehicle.
Investigators believe Adam has been hiding out in Mexico since the Butlers' truck and camper crossed the border 2 weeks earlier. And they worry that time is running out.
Our fear was if he travels further into Mexico, he's gone. We'll never see him again. We'll never solve this case.
Coming up, alarming details begin to emerge as investigators key in on a bad romance headed toward disaster.
He's one of those individuals that is capable of absolute terror.
It's one of these horribly catastrophic relationships. It was tied to his ability to use her and her ability to use him.
They share the love and a willingness to get away with things unimaginable.
Texas investigators are searching for 33-year-old Adam Williams and an unidentified woman after surveillance footage placed the couple crossing the Mexican border 2 weeks earlier.
We're all putting our best ditch effort to figure out how do we go about looking for this individual. If we were dealing with someone in Mexico, how do we find them? And so it was at that point we purposely decided to leak the information regarding the picture of Mr. Williams on the AP wire, which goes into Mexico news stations.
While investigators wait for tips to come in regarding the couple's whereabouts, they reach out to Adam's family in Utah. His family tells authorities that they haven't heard from Adam, but they identify the woman traveling with him as 32-year-old Amanda Novaire.
We were able to identify Amanda Novaire as Adam Williams' wife. They had met after his release from the federal penitentiary and were legally married prior to their movement to Texas.
Amanda, when she was still in elementary school, moved from California to Utah with her mother and her brother, and that is when I met her. She's great personality-wise, fun to be around, and she's really sociable. She is a talker. She can carry on a conversation just effortlessly. She's a caregiver. She helped take care of her mother. Her mother was very ill, and she ended up succumbing to her illness, and she passed. But right after she passed, Amanda started to struggle with substance abuse.
She's an individual who has had her bouts with the law herself, but not as severe as Adam.
She had some domestic violence charges, and I believe she had some issues with intoxication. She started dating people that were less than ideal for her, really abusive relationships, which was really unfortunate because she was such a caring person.
Amanda Novaire had been previously divorced with children and was a single mom when she met Adam Curtis Williams. And this is a guy covered in tattoos. He doesn't exactly look like the boy next door, but there must have been something charming that attracted her to him.
They had cute little interactions like that when they first started dating. When they started getting more serious, it seemed like they were trying to do the whole family thing. So I thought it was actually going pretty good.
Those closest to Amanda quickly realized the ex-con was bad news.
Me and Adam spent a lot of time together, and he did have some outbursts. I warned him that he did have a temper, but she also has a temper, and so I warned him too. It kind of came out of the blue that he was being so violent, and I didn't realize that until the summer of 2019 when she started telling me he was being so possessive. It started to get to the point once they moved in, they were around each other constantly. Their other lifestyle choices, like drugs, they started staying up for nights at a time, days on end. She ended up kind of on a downward spiral, and she did struggle taking care of her kids. Her first child's grandmother had taken an interest and helped out with them.
Despite her family and friends' warnings, Amanda was hooked on Adam.
August 29th, 2019, they ended up getting married here in Logan City, and then they shortly after decided to leave, and I didn't realize that they were literally running from the law.
Adam was currently wanted for sexual assaulting a female, and that was the reason that him and Amanda made the decision to leave Utah.
She started calling me a lot back and forth from Texas when she could get away from Adam, and this is what alarmed me. She started showing interest in wanting to leave Adam, but she was scared of what he was going to do.
Investigators are increasingly confident that the woman in the butler's truck is Amanda Novaire, but her family is adamant that Amanda isn't capable of murder.
Adam Curtis Williams, we know, had a very lengthy rap sheet, but when it comes to Amanda Novair, she had like a minor assault charge. So at this point, we're not sure if she was in on something or if she's an innocent victim in all of this.
Investigators release Amanda's name and image to the news. Then, 10 days into the manhunt, authorities catch a break when Adam and Amanda are spotted at an RV park in Jalisco, Mexico.
Jalisco is a state within the border of Mexico that is along the Pacific Ocean. It's literally hundreds of miles from the border of Texas.
A gentleman from the RV park recognized them as suspects in this double homicide and identified the vehicles. I believe Adam was trying to sell the RV to the park owner.
He reached out and contacted law enforcement.
And at that point, I reach out to several colleagues of mine at the United States Marshal Service, who I've known for years. And I said, hey, I need a favor. And I said, I know where this individual is, and I need him captured. And I don't care what you got to do it. I don't care how you do it. I just want him back in our custody. He said, Sheriff, I've got a team right now standing by in Guadalajara. I'll call you or I'll text you in a couple hours. I thought, okay, something's going to happen.
Amanda called me and I was like, you know, you're on the news. Like, what is going on? She finally was like, what can we do to turn myself in? She knew that she was going to end up dead if we didn't. But I was like, I'll help you. And so we called the Texas Rangers and I talked to them, gave them the location of the RV park they were staying in and the cell phone that they used to track her location. And apparently they surprised her and Adam at the RV park, which ended up being the best outcome that we could have hoped for. Everybody was safe.
I'm sitting there and my phone goes off and I open it up and only thing that I see is a picture of Mr. Williams handcuffed laying on the floor of that trailer. It was an unbelievable feeling.
Amanda and Adam are separately held at a Mexican jail while they await extradition.
On the same day that Adam Curtis Williams is found in Mexico, he is extradited back to the U.S. and arrives in Houston.
We sent an army, well-armed officers, deputies, trained jail personnel to bring him back. And we brought him under heavy security. We weren't going to take any chance at all.
I'm sitting right next to Mr. Williams, and he tells me, he says, yeah, you guys are good. I was going to go down to South America, and you would never found me there.
I have worked undercover, and I've seen bad guys, okay? Eye to eye. But this guy was different, and that just sent a bad chill down my back.
He's one of those individuals that I believe capable of absolute terror.
In November 2019, authorities in Mexico have apprehended their two primary suspects in the murders of James and Michelle Butler.
2 days after Adam Curtis Williams is extradited back to the U.S., Amanda Novair is extradited back as well.
I told her once she gets back to the States, they'll start questioning her, that she needs to use her Fifth Amendment rights. I just wanted her to have a fair shot at it.
She never appeared to be in distress or show, the efforts that she was trying to get away.
In an interview room, Amanda quickly asks for an attorney. Adam Williams also refuses to cooperate.
Adam had really not much to say, and I think he figured, you know what, you guys are going to have to figure this out. I'm not going to give you the keys to the castle. I'm telling you, there were sleepless nights because I worried every day that this guy's going to kill one of my detention officers any minute.
On January 23rd of 2020, both Amanda and Adam were charged with felony theft and charged with tampering with evidence for the burial of the Butlers.
From there, we continue to investigate linking Adam and Amanda to the actual murder of the Butlers.
We actually contacted the FBI, and they flew down to Guadalajara and processed the scene for us. They were able to locate the gun and the ammunition that was found up in the ceiling of the RV.
The 9mm pistol was determined to be the murder weapon of both James and Michelle. Going through the forensic evidence, we were able to determine that at least one of the murders occurred in the trailer.
On a second search warrant that we executed on that trailer, we were able to locate bloodstains, and that gave us DNA evidence. Evidence was sampled and sent for DNA analysis and was positive for belonging to Michelle Butler.
Armed with this new evidence, investigators confront the couple again. While Adam remains defiant, Amanda breaks down.
She was a little more cooperative when the Rangers started speaking with her. I think she was caught up in how he manipulated her.
I believe that it's one of these horribly catastrophic relationships. Definitely not a healthy relationship. It was tied to his ability to use her and her ability to use him.
There was a protective sense that she felt like she had in him. And I think, she trusted in him, and she figured, yeah, I know he's done some things, but I'm willing to look past it in the name of love. But not really thinking that he's capable of doing this.
I think that part of her thought that it was a great adventure and she loved him, and then part of her was just desperation. Together they are a bad combination.
I do think that they thought they could get away at least and start a new life doing the same things they'd done before, but under new names. And I think that was their motive to coming down to Texas.
Amanda tells investigators that in mid-September, she and Adam arrived in South Texas and acquired the murder weapon.
There's a gun show that's happening in Corpus Christi. Adam, he cannot get a gun. He knows this. He knows that there's no way that they're going to sell him a gun if they do a check. And so he asked Amanda to purchase the weapon for him. I don't think he divulges to her, maybe he doesn't even know it himself, the ultimate purpose for it, but just the fact that he wants a gun.
Amanda says she and Adam set up camp on a remote section of Padre Island. It was there they met another couple on October 16th.
They were desperate for a way to continue their travels to get into Mexico. I think at that point, the Butlers had established a campsite near them, and he decided that that would be an easy way to get a new vehicle.
They've got a nice trailer, they've got a nice truck. Wouldn't it be nice if we take that and go on about our deal? Adam has just decided to steal the Butler's property, and in doing so, he decides to execute him and murder him. Amanda is playing along or going along with whatever Adam tells her, and again, is part of this plan. She was told or instructed by Adam to drive him down to the beach and drop him off, drive down a mile or two, and then come back.
Authorities believe that's when Adam made his way back to the Butlers' campground under the cover of darkness.
If you can imagine it being midnight or the middle of the night, pitch dark, campfire, really no one around but your closest camp neighbor. Not a lot of people may be able to hear you scream or hear a gunshot go off.
What I think happened is Adam Williams came over to the Butler's trailer late at night, and Adam shot James and killed him.
Michelle Butler was there by herself. As she opened the door, he shot her. Adam Williams and Amanda Novaire then buried the bodies in a clandestine grave in the sand dunes.
She was an accomplice. She was involved. Not necessarily the murder of the two, but in disposing and burying the two bodies.
It was such a senseless crime. They were killed for their truck and camper. No other reason.
On October 22nd, 2020, a Texas grand jury returns murder indictments against Adam and Amanda.
In Texas, capital murder is punishable by life in prison or death.
I guess Adam finally decides, you know what, I'm done. There's no way out of this.
Both suspects, Adam Williams and Amanda Nover, they decide not to go to trial.
On November 10th, 2021, Adam Williams pleads guilty and is sentenced to life without parole.
There is a feeling of relief to know that this person will never be able to hurt someone again outside of prison walls.
Adam Williams was an extremely cold person. No remorse, no stress, and extremely evil, in my opinion.
He's convicted, and I literally picked up the phone, and I called the governor's office and the Texas Bureau of Prisons, and I'm telling them, you have got to facilitate getting this man out of Claiborne County. He is going to kill somebody else. It's going to happen. Within a few days of that conviction, we managed to get him out of Claiborne County.
In February of 2022, Amanda Nover is sentenced to 20 years in prison. We learned then that she is not the one that pulled the trigger, but that she facilitated these murders and tried covering them up.
She's tied up in Adam's web. There is no part of her that doesn't have intimate knowledge of the crime, and she's just as guilty as he is.
They're a couple that did everything together, and that includes murder. They share the love that I think no one wants to relate to. A pact that I can't imagine. A willingness to take and to steal and to get away with things unimaginable. And it's just a sad story. Maybe if they didn't flee Utah, they wouldn't have been on our Corpus Christi beaches. It could have been prevented.
For family and friends of James and Michelle Butler, the convictions can never replace what they lost.
The death of James and Michelle Butler was an anomaly that will never have answers. It will always be plagued by 1,000 questions.
I want Jimbo and Michelle to be remembered for the love they had for each other, for the love they had for their family and their friends, and everyone they meet along the way.
They shared that love, they shared that laughter, and they shared their life with family, friends, people they didn't even know.